Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, or welcome to, because we are checking out a new group with XLOV, I believe is the pronunciation. I'm a Bee, which is their debut. It seemed like the good place to start to get into their group when someone recommended that I check them out. They're actually a group that has been on my radar since I think a little bit before they debuted because, and I may be wrong because I don't actually know things yet, I'm new here, they're supposed to be like androgynous or genderless, and as a genderqueer, that definitely sparked my attention, but also made me a little bit tentative because if there's one thing I know about the music industry, it's that they can make money off of something they don't actually believe in or care about, they will. So I was a little bit like, where is this going with that particular concept? So I just let it be for a little bit. And it seems like they've been very well received, at least in like the parts of music fandom that I frequent, and people seem to be big fans. And so it seems like the time to finally check out their music and see what this group is. That being said, I don't know anything else. So definitely let me know down in the comments anything that I might need to know about the group or content where I can learn about that and I can check it out at some future point. I don't really know anything beyond that in terms of anything else about their kind of main concept. I don't know the members. I don't even think I've heard any of their songs. I might have heard like a snippet here or there, depending on like how viral it went, but I cannot think off the top of my head like what they're gonna sound like, which is very much how I like to go into these videos. I like to be surprised and just see what happens. So with that, we're gonna check out the lyrics first. All right, if you're new here, yes, we check out lyric videos first. I'm neurodivergent and we get overwhelmed. And when I get overwhelmed, I cry. So we check out lyric videos first, especially since music videos have a tendency to snatch the part of my attention deficit where I'm like, ooh, shiny, sparkly colors. So it makes it difficult for me to process all of the information of a song. And I do like to process everything. We like to deep dive into our different songs, which means I also pause and I talk about things. I feel like the whatever runtime this video ends up having should be an indicator of that. So if you don't like pausing, that's okay. This isn't going to be the video for you, and that's all right. There's lots of other people on the internet who can give you the reactions that you're looking for. It's just not going to be here. And if I have to hear about it in my comment section, I reserve the right at this very moment to publicly shame you, and I will. So tread with caution. But that being said, very excited. We got 4 members that I don't know anything about yet. But the styling, oh my gosh, the eye makeup here. Do we have a white mascara or like lashes on? Okay. Ooh, look at the vintage hairstyle. Anyway, not for me to get distracted immediately. This is why we separate out content. But first time listen, I'm a Bee. Ooh. Okay. You know it's not a game. Reality 깨어날 수도 없지. Yeah, just think about this. 그저 신호가 올 때까지. Yeah. I know I'm interrupting. Look, I already warned you about pausing. These like keys or whatever, the drama of this is already making me very happy. Wumuti, I don't know if I'm anywhere near pronunciation. I'm so sorry. I will learn. I'm willing to learn. Definitely let me know down in the comments all of the things. Thank you. But first, a little cry at the beginning of some of those phrases. Beautiful. Also, feels a little bit R&B inspired. I don't know any of the background, but as a lover of jazz and R&B, hi, hello. Okay, already beautiful with some of the layered vocals as well. Rui? Again, I'm so sorry about my pronunciations. I might just be like a generic white English speaker and I'm so sorry. But beautiful light like falsetto sound, gorgeous. And again, a little bit of a darker sound contrasting with the 2 voices that we're getting right at the beginning. Beautiful. I'm just gonna start again. I feel like I need to listen to it from the beginning because I was like, hang on, I gotta reel in some of my excitement, but I'm immediately, this is up my alley, just sonically, I'm here for it. Yeah, I think it's strings. Like staccato. Oh, that fall in the vocals too. You know it's not a game. Reality 깨어날 수도 없지. Yeah, just Little vibrato. I know I'm interrupting right before the drop. I understand. Okay, first off, all of the layered vocals, they're like really light, airy. They just float in the back, which I think is so good with this heavier bass that we're getting, right? To have the contrast of those two things. There's something almost like ethereal in the way that they're layering up all of these vocals. It's really pretty, especially since it seems like we're getting a little bit of a lower range with some of the vocals. Again, new here, don't entirely know their singing styles yet, but just listening, you can hear when someone gets near the bottom of some of their range vocally. Beautiful kind of different tones that I'm already getting though from these four. I feel, especially with a group that has like less members, that you really need to have those members like distinct vocally, because if you have four members and two of them sound very similar, I feel like it's going to take away some of the dynamics that you can get in the group, right? When you have more members, it's a lot easier to just like quick change through a bunch of people and you're going to get like different performances from each of them. But I feel like with a smaller number of members, you're focusing on each member a bit longer and you need them to like really stand out from each other. So far, I'm really liking that. I like that we have some darker tones, right? A little bit of a like lower larynx position in some of them, brighter tones, a little bit more of the like masking, like nasal resonance in some of them. We've gotten some beautiful vibrato at the end of notes, and then others like cry. Was it like who I think had a little bit of a cry, like a little more tension in false vocal cords. Ooh. Now again, I like that we're having this contrast of these kind of ethereal layered vocals in the back, and then something a little bit more legato with the vocal melodies for the main vocal, some deeper notes with it as well to like contrast. We even have the siren imagery, right? Very interesting. I feel like I just want one more. I feel like it's gonna take me a while to get through the song because I'm like, everything is new and I'm just like, I'm very excited. Beautiful little vibrato there too. That voice. Beautiful vocal run there.
Silly, yeah, baby, here I come and get it. So just sit and down and watch it. 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8 down and brand it. I'm your wish, 이제 시작이야.
Whoa. Ooh, okay. A couple of things. Little bit of like an anti-drop going on. A very like different vocal performance there as well, like the beginning of the chorus. Love that we had the shift into that heavy bass coming in with that I'm a beer, right? Like again, high up, that like kind of falsetto, light sound in contrast. I think that is really good to have that particular vocalist. I'm also realizing that this is, again, lyric video. I feel like I shouldn't have to give this caveat, but I've got enough comments about it in the past. I get that it's not necessarily accurate in who's singing what. I'm not going to know any of that. I'm going to wait until the music video for me to figure out any of that, and that the translations might not be correct, okay? We all know this. Okay? Not my first rodeo with a lyric video. You weren't there in the 2010s when it was like we didn't get translations on official music videos, so we just had to like go to Twitter and hope that we had a good translation. We had to trust, okay? But having, I think, Rui, I'm so sorry, they have a much brighter like forward sound. Like you get a lot more masking in the front kind of nasal area with their voice. And because of that, it does a really good job of cutting through that bass. It's very contrasted between those, and thinning out the sound up at that higher part of the range is also sitting above that like heavy bass line that's coming in. I had like several things. Oh, there was a little bit of the backing vocals. I don't know if I had like dissonance or whatever, but I feel like I'm sitting here. Ooh, there's so many little treats in the way that this song is put together that I'm just like very excited. And again, it's like a new puzzle for me to figure out. But the backing vocals were just like a little bit off in terms of a basic harmony, and they're descending. And so it just, again, it like contrasted. It's a little bit off kilter. And I think given what I'm getting from the performance, like the lyrics, and again, considering that this is a debut, I feel like that's very intentional to have this kind of slightly off feeling in terms of it's slightly not what I would expect. It's slightly outside of, again, like the expectations that I have of how the backing vocals were going to be arranged. And I think that's on purpose. Like, one, it grabs my attention, and two, it's like saying, hey, we're going to do things a little bit different, right? We're going to choose a slightly different path. We already had them talking about like writing like prejudice on the walls and stuff like that, of like having this judgment, the image of these kind of opinions or judgment or expectations surrounding you as you feel enclosed by it. And instead we have this kind of shift into something different, and even having that like lighter vocal feels almost like rising above that, right? It's like doing your own thing and not letting be weighted down by everything, right? I feel like with this whole thing I'm like, I want to hear it again. I will move on, I swear. Oh, this clap too. I also love the little clock kind of gear sounds. Love that breath too. Those. Oh, I love those vocals. I love the little flip up too. Ooh, I love a little vocal slide. Working in the hole like a cat, but I can't help for that. The gun for my head is that the philosophy can. Ooh. Again, a little bit of a rap cadence there. We got like a whisper in the back instead of just like a harmonizing vocal, like whispers happening, which again makes me almost feel like getting those like opinions or like people like having judgments. It feels like people like whispering around you and like you're aware of it, but they're trying to like not be like obvious in their like their judgment or whatever. And even the cat reference makes me feel like either I always like land on my feet, right? You talk about cats always land on their feet, or cats have 9 lives. So it's, hey, you might try and bring me down, but I'm gonna come back, right? Like I'm going to continue anyway. Vibe, even rebirth a little bit. I feel like there are many again, let me know down in the comments. I feel like there are probably many things that are referenced in this that I don't know anything about because I don't know the members, but I like that we're getting the whisper happening. It's very like fun to bring everything down from the grandeur of some of this production coming in to reel things back down to something more controlled and intentional. Working in the hole like a cat, but I can't help for that. The gun for my head is that the philosophy can. Oh, that little vocal rundown. Ooh, wait, I know I'm interrupting, but this is one of the lines I wanted to like pick apart. Yeah, the like free the beauty is very interesting, like unfold on stage. I like that imagery, especially like curtain. You think of like the curtain, like drawing back, spotlight. Again, if I'm getting some of this correctly, of some of this, I'm going to succeed despite obstacles in my way or like opinions about me or whatever. So this idea of being on stage and like unapologetically being yourself, and maybe this is some of me pulling from knowing that there's an androgynous lean of this group. That's definitely something a little bit different. Obviously there are themes of androgyny throughout different parts of the music industry, but it usually is more of a concept for a specific song or a comeback or whatever, and it's a little bit different to make it a core part of the group's identity and what they're trying to like communicate. So that like in and of itself is this unapologetic, very visual way of distinguishing yourself as someone different and like an outlier. Androgyny of this being like lack of being confined or like limited in how you express yourself, right? It's about not being like trapped within like a binary way of thinking in like a lot of different ways. And I think that you can expand that out into a lot of other parts of the concept of what the group is going for. I'm not going to be just one thing. I'm not going to stay within that confines. Like I said, with the walls around them of the prejudices, I'm not going to let myself be contained within a single idea of what I'm supposed to be. And instead I'm going to let it unfold on this stage in this very public setting, lean into the performance and the art. And we say like free the beauty, right? Of like letting the expression, even like paint, right? Of this, let the art and the performance and letting yourself be expressive in a lot of different ways. And like the whole point of being creative and expressive is not to be contained by like expectations, right? It's kind of like coloring outside the lines, right? If you're painting your own picture, there aren't any lines for you to color out of, right? So letting yourself have that creative freedom is a vibe that I'm getting so far.
The gun for my head is that the philosophy
I love all the layered vocals. Love a vocal slide. Ooh. I like that change. Ooh, wait, I know I'm interrupting again. We were gonna get a little bit of a held note, and I apologize. But I love this blooming being put next to it. You had the like unfolding, which feels like this kind of, again, like flower unfolding its petals, blooming. Like one, that's the beauty that we associate a lot with like flowers. There's some delicate imagery again to that if we're going with, again, the kind of androgyny side of things with some of the darker kind of bassier sounds as well. Talking about like dancing on the pane, like intertwining those two things, even like rain, right, of being like this darkness, sorrows, struggles, but also there's something cleansing with it as well, right? There's something was purifying with the rain, and that it's like it's necessary for life to blossom again, right? So bring all of those imagery together, but also like the flower blooming, right? All of the petals opening up is a sign of plant being healthy. It's also starting of new life because the flowers where like pollen comes from and like seeds and starting of new life and like the plant continuing to grow and everything. So I love all of that imagery being put together. Not as I get a weather update right now about rain. Not for the heavens to be involved in the symbolism here. Loving all of the layered vocals. I think that is one of my favorite parts of this song, not just because I think it's really beautiful and again has this kind of angelic, ethereal sound to it in contrast to this heavy bass that we have going on. It also feels very full, and I don't know how much of that is just their voices, like the members of this group's voices, or other people being brought in for like studio recording of it, but I think that having that very full kind of choir sound in terms of having a lot of voices, not necessarily in terms of like genre, but having all those voices together to fill in some of the almost instrumentations, there's something almost a cappella leaning in some of it. It's really impressive for having these four voices that are like the main voices of this group.
So just sit and down and watch it. 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8 the talent burned it. I'm your wish.
I love those backing vocals so much. The bass is crazy. higher note. I'm sorry. There are too many things. You done? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm just a generic English speaking white person right now. I'm so sorry. Coming in with the like belting vocals, like clear closure on the vocal cords, really nice placement forward, a little bit of vibrato on the end of some of the phrases, add a little something to the performance. Okay. Sorry, I just had a moment where I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna really like this group and this is gonna be a new obsession I'm wandering into. It's fine. We'll cross that bridge as we get to it. Wow, okay, no, calibrating, because there was a high note somewhere in there anyway. What's the note in the back? Wild. Absolutely was not sure what I was walking into, but okay. First off, that note in the back? Crazy. Who was doing that ad lib? Second, I think my soul left my body a little bit when we got into the like, at the end, like the little break in the voice there. Okay, words. This is why we separate out listening to the song and the visuals, because my brain can't commute that much. I get too excited and my thoughts trip over themselves and I can't get any actual like coherent sentences out. So ground ourselves. Actual sentences. Phenomenal performance. Like, I feel like the concept for the lyrics is very much honing on a very specific concept, right? Narrowing it down onto something very specific. This is just a debut, right? This is just them making their statement, making themselves stand out, and we can dive into more like complex topics later. I think this is catchy. I love getting little vocalizations. I think that's a really good way of showing off all of their voices, especially with that little flip up that they do in the phrasing as well. And I think that, again, it just sits really well over top of that like heavy bass percussion that we're getting, but also opens up a lot for performance, which I'm very excited for going into like music video. Oh, the styling is going to be wonderful. These photos are any indication of what the styling is going to be. Very excited. But again, like I don't think that they were doing anything like overly complicated, but they were very much making a statement, and I think that works really well. What was one of the things I was like, yeah, this line where it was like, raise your head and make eye contact with me. I feel like that is such a interesting statement too, of being like, they had to sit and watch, right? Of being like, sit and watch, see what I can do. This is just a preview. You're going to watch me. I'm going to be up on that stage. I'm going to have a spotlight on me. And this feels, hey, watch me become like a success anyway. And again, I don't know the past of any of the members, but it feels like there is something to be proven here. Some of that might just be debut. Some of that might be if we did stuff prior to this group, like what the journey was to get to this group. I don't know. You can definitely let me know down in the comments, but it definitely feels like, hey, watch me do this anyway. Like, you had all these thoughts and opinions and judgments of me. Sit down and watch me do it anyway. Like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And that's what I feel like this whole song is about. You can't put me inside of a box. You can't put me into a specific category. You can't write me off. I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to do it better than you ever thought I could. And just watch me. That's what this song feels like. And I feel like that's what they were doing. If let's stick to a very clear message of what the song is going to be. Let's really show off the vocals of this. And I love that we're getting a more like mature leaning sound in general, like not anything like, I don't know, scandalous or anything like that, but a very controlled, there's a bit of a darker lean in some of the instrumentation and some of their vocal performances. Definitely feels like they have a good handle on like how their voices work, like each of them individually as vocalists, and we're able to make them blend really well with doing like the backing vocals, which again, so good. Like, just every moment I was like, ooh, I like what they're doing with that backing vocal too, which again, adding into some of the proving the vocals of this group. And it just makes me more excited to see what the performance is going to be like, because if that's what y'all sound like, then we're just adding on more and we're putting in a performance. I'm very excited. But first of all, just like the song. Big fan. You had me with darker sounding voice right off the bat. That'll always get me. Yeah, no, I'm just like, I'm realizing how much of a problem the hyperfixation might become. Again, cross that bridge later. Oh my god, I just looked at how long my video already is. I'm so sorry. Specifically to my patrons who are gonna have to watch this unedited. But if you want to see an unedited version and all of the madness, Patreon, always linked down in the description. You can come and hang out with us. Anyway, unbelievably excited of what this visual is gonna be. Ooh. Oh, I like having the door turned. Oh my god. Ooh, okay, first off, having the door already turned on its side immediately and like exit being immediate, like the shift in perspective. I like that we're literally in a box. I was already getting some of that energy, and we're here in like the monochrome, the styling on them. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna try and not be too distracted, but like the sparkles going on. Love it. But we have them in the school uniform. Again, uniform, you have to fit into kind of regulations, and they're styling outside of it to make them stand out, both like in this setting, but also to say like we don't fit into that kind of way of showing ourselves. I also think that it's interesting that we have people with their head down. One, that's to make sure we can focus on our main group, but also we had the lyric about raise your head and make eye contact with me. I like we have the checkers too, so it almost feels, again, like restriction, needing to move in like a very specific way, right? There's some like the strategy of chess of being used, right? Of you being like a pawn, right? We say that as someone being used by someone more powerful as opposed to like making their own decisions. So I think it's very interesting imagery, and like the gray wall, something very like stark in this whole setup. Anyway, love the pen.
You know it's not a game. Reality 깨어날 수도 없지. Yeah, just think about this. 그저 신호가 올 때까지.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Whoa.
I'm riding on the wall of prejudice.
So many things. Oh my god. Okay. So many things. Okay. One, I love that like up close you can see like the sparkles, and then as the camera pulled out, the sparkles blended more in, and I feel like that is so like symbolic of like how, because it's almost like a mask but not really, right? Like it's definitely making like a standout as opposed to fitting in, but it's like literally covering the face, except not actually, but it feels almost reminiscent, like a nod to a mask, and being like the farther you get away from someone, the more distance that you have with someone, the less you can see what makes them different, or like what is an actual like reflection, right? Like the sparkle dims. Some of that might just be the way that it worked out. I don't know how much of that was intentional, but I thought that was really good. The choreography, my spine hurts watching that, my knees hurt watching that, and then we had the kick out. I beg your absolute pardon. When I said I was excited for performance, wait, let me center myself once more. See the spark? I love that. Look at 2 exits too, 2 doors. It's wild. Especially with the head being like centered for that, and like keeping eye contact with the camera. Again, in like red, more alternative styling in contrast. That's a wild move. I like this too, where we have the faces blurred out. Wow. Ooh. Wait, I know I'm interrupting. One, I like that we're getting color incorporated. As they deviate out, we get more of an alternative styling to distinguish them from the uniforms that are happening, even though they're already like personalizing the uniforms that are happening. But we have the 2 doors, the 2 exits, right? 2 options. We get the chess imagery there, and like the inversion of the colors. So again, like inverting, being different, going against expectation. Okay. I have too many thoughts. Ooh, I like the symbolism with like the heart. The graphics in the back. Ooh. Flower imagery again. Okay, so many things. Okay, one, I think at one point we had almost like paint on the fingertips while they were like moving the chess pieces, which again I think goes to some of the art painting imagery that we have. The little like move of having a very close to the body movement for those vocalizations, and like having a movement close to the face is watch me, right? Like having this like very clear movement near their face of watch, sit down and watch me. The facial expressions, the performance, excellent. The little clock moment there as well. It also looked like when we were moving on like the chessboard, we were not moving the way that we normally would, maybe. Again, of kind of making your own path or whatever. I also noticed, was it Mumuti? Again, I don't know about pronunciation, but I'm pretty sure that's this member here. I just noticed that we have this very like structured hairstyle, right? With these, they're not pin curls. Oh, they're like very specific, like with the older like heat irons, like one of the first heat irons that you would get with like flapper era hairstyles. And I don't know why I can't remember. But again, a bit of a throwback hairstyle, but also was very symbolic of going against expectations, right? Like it was mostly for women having like very short hair and styling it, like the whole flapper styling was rebellious in a lot of ways, right? For like women and equality and fighting for different rights and all of that. So like I think that's one, interesting to have that represented in this, but also very like structured hairstyle here, and then with the more alternative styling, it's much looser, right? Like it doesn't have the same like product and specific styling in it. So I also think that's interesting to have this kind of more restricted hairstyle, and then the symbolism of having something a little bit more free and dynamic later. There were probably several other things that I thought of, and I'm not going to get all of them. Flower imagery. I like this kind of like heart, expressing like the essence of what they're going for or whatever. Again, there's probably like 1,000 things I'm missing. So shout out for the floor work. Wow, this is so interesting too. That's so good. Like, work on like the hip. Love that too. Again, we have the two with the windows and being in the middle. Working in the hole like a cat, but I can't help for that. The gun for my head is that the philosophy gun. 잠깐만 나 gonna lie. Color free, 무대비 펼쳐진 me. The paint, the color you need. Ooh, smooth little wave. Ooh, hello dance move. Okay, several things. I like that we're in the middle of these like two choices. We have the two windows and being in the middle, two exits and being in the middle. Ooh, I feel like one of the outfits, Hyun, maybe? It almost looks like wings. The person who sang before. Because I think this is Haru, right? Again, I'm new here and I'm just trying. I'm pretty good at faces. I know all of their faces are different. It's just me being like, which name goes with which face? But it almost looks like wings that we've got going on with some of the styling, like the like fur details that we're getting. We had a little like lift kick that was happening, which is also this styling. It almost looks like wings with the like white fur, which I also like. The gun for my head is that the philosophy gun. 잠깐만 나 gonna lie. Color free, 무대비 펼쳐진 me. The paint, the color you need. Ooh, good little activation on that move too. Oh my goodness, again, my spine hurts. I love the flower, yeah. It's like stop motion. Ooh, I know I'm interrupting, but I also noticed there that we have like off-center windows, and that's where we see some of the like emotional turmoil there, right? Of like being in the middle, there's confidence, individuality, and then when we have it like choosing like one or the other is when we get more of this emotional turmoil happening. And I think that's also very interesting, and the thunderstorm happening behind the windows as opposed to like the flower blooming. I think it's also very probably intentional.
Dancing on the paint, yeah. Oh, I can take it if I want it. Silly, silly girl, baby, here I come and get it.
Ooh, good little like stop there. Ooh, that little bit of hitting all of those little percussion things. Okay, choreography. All right, they're very good. I don't know how much of this is video and you can do some stuff with like editing and stuff, but there's been a few times where they've really like sharply hit these tableaus, like these little moments of tableaus throughout the choreography that add this almost like glitch effect to the performance, just making me just want to watch like a live performance of them doing this. There's probably a dance practice. Anyway, bookmark it for later. But it's really fun to just get that kind of like glitchy kind of feeling again, because I feel like the whole concept that they're going for with this performance is to break out of the expectations and the restraints and to have this kind of glitch happening. Is I understand that I'm like the glitch here, right? I understand that I'm not going along with what's expected. I understand that I'm like deviating, and therefore it is going to be a more difficult road than just like going along with what's expected of me, right? But it's like with this really strong, sharp performance that there's like this confidence to the way that they're doing it of, yeah, I know that, and I'm gonna do it anyway because it's the path that feels right. It might be more difficult, but I know that it's where I'm supposed to be. I like that too with the clock. So good. I love that. Ooh, fun with the like school photos or whatever, class photos. Ooh, I love that too. Like drawing like a smile almost. Ooh, again, that was really well done because we had a member hidden behind, right? Because we've got 4. So if you want to have a balanced formation, you got to be a little creative with it, with the even numbers. But that was really well lined up. There might be a little bit of a height that in like playing with angles, but like really well to do that choreography and have the member like hidden behind. Interesting with the like, okay, interesting again with the like bed and the plushie, like the stuffed animal when you like throw it away. It's almost, that makes me think like childhood, youth. So it might be like with the school kind of imagery, we had the pictures burning, so it's almost like breaking out of that, of maybe leaving behind a previous thing. Again, I don't know like the history of this group being put together, but it almost feels like there has been some previous point of like expectations, and this is them being like, no, I'm going to do my own thing. So it almost feels like putting behind like previous experiences. I don't know how old they are, so it might also be like a transition from like childhood or youth or being viewed that way. I think also we tend to view like youth as something kind of foolish, right? Or unexperienced, or like dreamers, right? You can see this kid thinks that they're going to grow up and do this, right? They have a dream. Like how adorable is that? It can be a little bit condescending. So it almost feels like literally throwing that away or breaking out of that, especially since the bed itself is like a box. It's like containment. And again, you have the windows, again, like box containment, and it's a corner, the doors as well. So it's all of this imagery of like being stuck inside. Even the chessboard is like all these individual boxes that you have to move through to get anywhere. There's all these moments of them kind of being stuck within these boxes and rectangles and stuff. This lean back too at the camera. We're taking an exit. Ooh, with doves as well? Interesting. I like that we have the exit at the end. I also think it's really interesting. We have this end screen that's a much lighter color than the whole music video, which is quite dark. And then we have this lighter at the end, right? Like the light as they go through the exit. And again, having the doves, symbols of like peace or like victory, or even I said before, it looked like we had like white wings. I was thinking angel, but it could also be associated with like doves, right? Ooh. Oh, I loved that. There's nothing like crazy about the visual, but it did exactly what it needed to. It was like, feels like we were using maybe like the same sound stage with this like box, but I feel like it works really well for the concept of them performing inside of this box. The end is them like going through the exit out of it. So like within all of these kind of boxes, these places of containment within it, they're also like within a bigger box that they can't quite escape out of. I also think it's very interesting that we had multiple moments of them performing facing away from the camera, and we could see like the other like students like watching them, where it's like it's literally them and facing a different way. It could also be them like literally turning their back to something, right? That is like literal but also metaphorical. I think that it did a good way of making them stand out, but also again was focusing on the silhouette of their performance as opposed to like their facial expressions, which we got lots of great performances of that throughout the music video. But it's a very like unconventional thing to have done. Like usually you would have the other people turn and then have your like main performer still facing camera because they're supposed to be the focal point, and this almost like inverts that, and it's kind of a taboo within like stage direction. If I could just put on my I used to do stage performances hat for a second, one of the biggest taboos is you don't turn your back to the audience, right? So there's a lot of blocking that happens before you do a performance, a lot of facing in profile to the audience, and sometimes it looks like you're looking at an actor, but because they're actually like further up or down stage and you're not actually looking directly at them, but you don't want to turn away from the audience to look at where the other actor is, so you just look at nothing and act to nothing, but the angle from the audience is that you're looking at each other, and these kind of three-quarter kind of turns so that you're still always half or are partly turned towards the audience because that's who you're performing for, and you very rarely completely turn your back to the audience. And to have that in a music video, it's a very intentional part of the storytelling, and I think that is interesting to me. Like, one, again, that it's focusing on the silhouettes of the dance part of it, which may be what they were trying to accomplish, and that they're facing this like audience that they're trying to like influence or explain themselves to, and it feels like later on they're like, I'm not going to try and explain myself, I'm just going to be myself instead. So that might be part of it, and then it might also just be, again, because it's a taboo in performance and like stage direction, it's what you're not supposed to do, and they're like, I'm going to do it anyway, I'm going to take some creative license and I'm going to have that be part of the performance, and I'm going to make it symbolic and have it be very intentional, because we can see for the rest of it they do have very good facial expressions, they do have very good performances directly to camera, so it is clearly in lots of different ways in the way that it's even framed, it's very intentional, even though it's technically like breaking the rules. But I feel like it fits with the topic of the song and the music video. I feel like there were probably like dozens of other things that I had thoughts about, but also I was like trying to pick up on too much. Also, if this is their logo, love it. I was gonna say I feel like I have a lot of thoughts, and then I looked at how long I've been recording, and clearly I did have a lot of thoughts. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of leeway in that this is my first video with this group, and I'm allowed to be overexcited about all of the little things because I haven't talked about them yet, so there. But that was so good. Like, it leaves me with, there's a little part of my brain that's still trying to pull apart all the pieces, and that's a very good place for me to be, is like having a music video and a song that kind of sits with me and makes me like think about it some more. I feel, again, there was a very clear, precise message that they were trying to get with this song and this music video, and they weren't trying to do anything like super elaborate. I don't think I even know like what label they're under, but I don't think it's one of the big ones. They're posting their music videos on like their YouTube channel, so that's usually because they're not with one of the bigger channels where they could get more reach, but I don't actually know. So again, some of that might be like budget of like where they could get at the beginning of them doing a bunch of stuff, but like what they had, they utilized really well. Again, like using a smaller soundstage makes so much sense for this song of being contained and there being something like artificial and staged about it fits so well with what they were trying to do, and having this very like stark gray coloring to everything in contrast to these like vibrant colors, and like the red especially being just this very intentional color cutting through everything, I think works really well for them. Like, it's utilizing what you might have access to and making it part of the creative direction of the visuals, which I really like to see. I always seeing someone be like, okay, this is what we have, we're gonna make it work, we're gonna figure it out. And again, even with them having 4 members doing a lot of great storytelling and acting in this, and also with the backing vocals of just making all of those backing vocals work and making it sound very like full and grand with all of those vocals. Again, it's just utilizing what you have and layering up those vocals and making them blend together really well. I think it all just came together into something that very much intrigues me. So again, let me know down the comments all the things that I should know, or where I can find the information for the things that I should know, if there's like specific content I should be checking out, or what songs I should check out next. I usually try to go chronological because it's easier for me to not miss things or get distracted. Again, I go, ooh, shiny, and I follow that. So going chronological is usually the easiest way for me to keep myself on track. But if there's some place that I should specifically be, let me know. Because again, I don't have any context for this group really, but really loved the song, loved the performance. I think that they did such a good job with it. So definitely let me know. And I hope you enjoyed listening to that along with me. You can subscribe so you don't miss the next time I post an XLOV. I really hope that's how you pronounce it. I probably should have looked that up, but definitely want to come back to this group very soon, so you can subscribe for more of that, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.